You are listening to the Law Enforcement Pirate Radio Network. Radio Free Larry presiding.
You can run, but you can't hide.
Radio Free Larry.
All right, here we go again. Now, I alluded to it before how people aren't as disabled as they are cursed off, and that includes present cursing off of that. So again, we have all these physical maladies and issues that would cease instantly if the devils were taken out of the way. Demons, antichrist, witches, and sorcerers. My microphone's a little crazy right now. Or what's going on there, but I think we have something going on here. So again, when you are so fixated on religious dogma, you kind of lose the ability to peruse other scriptures and other teachings and see what everybody's doing. I know I'm not taken away by every whim of doctrine, but I like to look at everybody's whim of doctrine, and some of it's pretty solid. Metaphysics is very important. Without it, you can't get to the point that you really don't judge people. Even if you judge. Again, we're all human. Jesus judged people. I judge people. You judge people. But we don't judge people with our heart. Therefore, God understands that. There's an out for that. So the Christian Science information, Christian Scientists, I really enjoy certain parts of it, but they get to the point where you have to solely focus on the spiritual, and it's saying that the pain is an illusion. Now, to God it is, because that's not you. God can realize billions and billions of years. So, he's like, okay, 80 years, 15 of those years you're kind of messed up, and then you go. For God, it's like, whatever. But he understands, he doesn't want you to suffer. But to God, it's just, I've brought this up before, it's not the same thing. Because when we pass on, we're gone from here and we're in a better place. I just saw somebody who recently deceased said that was recently deceased. Try to fix this mic. Something's a little crazy with it tonight. Must have cursed it. Crazy Mike, hey. However, what I say is happening. Some is government interfering in the lives of the citizens. Some of it is private sector, but the government is a crony, even if it's just a crony to let them harm somebody and look the other way. So we have this Christian Science information that speaks about metaphysics, and it's pretty deep. It's a great psychology for healing. So if we take it and balance it with other information, then we're okay. A lot of people have said I read an article earlier, a woman, her grandfather ended up with gangrene, could have killed him because he was trying to mind it away. He couldn't do it, obviously, and finally got him to a doctor. Again, there's multiples. Like I couldn't get to massage therapy. I just couldn't get there. As much as I've used massage therapy throughout the years, I couldn't get there. A month and some change ago, I was trying to get to massage therapy, and I went to one, and she wouldn't even massage my back. And I mean, she just touched it. So I canceled the other one. The other one probably would have fixed my back. I went to one massage therapy appointment today, and I'm like, so much better. But you know what got me there? Yelling at you last night. Even though I made the appointment beforehand, what I did last night actually opened the way previously. I've told you how that works. There's no real time and space when it comes to metaphysics. So what I did last night, and there's something out, there was some other thing too that was done that opened the way. There's other people thinking well and trying to get me somewhere. But also, God will have me like think of doing something, and the deep state like, we don't want him to do that, and then that'll also power it to a certain degree. Even though they don't know they're affecting my massage and getting me a massage. So it was only an hour, and it worked pretty well. My right side of my back is finally released after a month, half or so. I had it released in July, like the end of July. Everything released. I felt great. I went into the emergency room and got that shot of an anti-inflammatory shot, and just come off a pack of steroids. My body just released. So that's why I said I needed shots, long-term oral steroids or a longer term. They wanted to do the epidural, which sounded good because the doctor in Naples had done that. But I had, maybe I don't need this. I had to that's something different. Give you these. So that really worked well. In Naples, probably allowing me to heal faster. What that did was completely, and then I was able to travel to Espanola, New Mexico. However, I did have to return the truck. I had a stick-shift truck. I don't even know where that came from. When this happens to me, everything's cursed. Turn around and pick up. They had to go back to Naples and pick it up. Because they were telling me they were going to drop it off, and then they didn't. I dropped it off and got like a Penske or something. Get this. So the whole thing was I went to the massage therapist. I didn't think she was going to be able to do much, but I'm amazed. But I was like, did you ever see anything like that? Like, yeah, it'll probably take me a couple times. Why? Well, it takes a couple times. I think you could actually do it. She's like, yeah. Well, I don't know. Hopefully I heal this thing. I'm feeling a lot better. I used to take Tylenol at night. I haven't taken Tylenol in a couple nights. A couple Motrin today, and I feel okay. I don't know. It's kind of scary because it's why am I not aching as much as I was? I should actually ache more because she was massaging me so much. Well, I don't know if I'm going to heal or not. We'll see. But this is the probably most positive sign I've seen in a month. Still, the walking's kind of weird, but he started working on my hips. She found them to be too tight. That was part of it. I probably have adhesions and things like that that have to be worked out. I kind of knew that, but I couldn't get anywhere. Nothing worked. I wish I could have got to that one massage therapist, but then I just looked at the date in July that I canceled those appointments, and I was on my way to get some treatment at a Azalea clinic, which, like I said, that's what they usually do is that epidural, but my problem was my back, and that was triggering everything else. So if you don't get rid of that trigger, you're not going to get rid of anything else. It kind of released. Left side released pretty well, but it actually even released better today. So everything is kind of like coming together. Hopefully I heal. I really have a lot of stuff to do. This helped break their hold they had on my mind. I mean, it's a very intense program that they use, psychological warfare program, much like MK Ultra, Project Artichoke, Project Shatter, Operation Midnight Climax, if they could. So my massage therapist and I kind of had a discussion about massage envy, and I didn't want to like immediately jump into it, but she was like jumping into it before I was. Sex trafficking. I think they're into trafficking. That's what she told me. I didn't say anything about that. You know, I said it before. And everything I brought up, she goes, she thought my way, but even more so. And she got mad because I told her about that. And then I told her about the guy that gave me a massage last weekend. He ended up not charging me, but it was gross. Okay? I'm not into it. Felt like I was groped a little bit too much. Not necessarily, not like sexually, but just it was just feeling too weird. It felt like he was trying to pull me in a certain direction. Nah. I'm like a millimeter away from making a millimeter away from making a complaint. But getting to this next massage therapist helped me unwind from that. Like I said, this is what usually happens. I usually get well, and then I try to let bygones be bygones, and then they know that. So they'll pull away for a little while and then come back. But that Tyler, Texas is evil. It's wired for murder, psychological murder, which leads to suicide and people acting out poorly. There's all sorts of weird stuff going on. Like I said, they're casting lots for your stuff when you stay at the place I was staying at. I mean, I don't know how many times I saw the woman throwing somebody's belongings away. I don't know, maybe they suicide out in there a lot. I don't know. Their little kill zone. One for them, I just never would have happened. I guarantee it. I was so close to getting out of there, and I swear, I mean, it could have been weird, just witchcraft, unjust witchcraft. But every time I went to buy a vehicle, it'd get messed up. And it looked like people were actually buying vehicles out from underneath me, but they could actually push those vehicles too. I mean, we're talking about NSA type. So if there's a vehicle that I'm looking at, they can get it sold by making it go to the front of all the searches. Again, you never know if they're part of the organization or just, you never know if they're part of the organization or simply hacking it. So again, that information from Christian Science, I wanted to put the link. I can't remember if I did. I think I did, but I can't remember. But the information from that is very, very valid. And looking at metaphysics and healing. First Church of Christ scientists, a lot of people hate them, think they're a cult. I don't think we should say no medical intervention. I don't believe that God would preclude that from us. But the rest of it's golden. And if you throw doctors into it and say medicine has a place within it, and you mind medicine into the lives of the people and heal them, you know, the doctor can only work through a healed person. If you're not healed, a doctor can never help you. That's the problem with the deep state. I am people. They're unhealing people and cursing them. So on my left side of my back, unblocked, I had this, like I told you, I had this sore on my leg that finally started healing. Like, what's going on? I'm falling apart. But the neurology wasn't communicating. So hopefully now that the right side of my body is starting to unblock, that it starts healing over there better. Love to be back to normalcy. I mean, because I lost a lot of weight. I was getting healthy. I was backpacking July 1st before this hit. Hopefully I get well, and I've been trying to go through various things. Oh, that's the other thing that happened. I was listening to the Christian Science information. I've had luck with it before. You know, and like I said, God had me look at those people, and they're good people. And some of their lives, if you're in a Christian Science family, that could work, living that kind of life, because you're living it your whole life. So you live a better life, healthy life, a more metaphysically healed life. But the problem is when that life gets overturned by satanic government or satanic people in the community, then you have an issue because gangrene and things like that. But in reality, the perfect Christian Science life, you would just pass on one day, die in your sleep or something. So you would be healed until you weren't, and you'd be gone. Because you can have a healed death. I mean, you die and they're well right up to the end. So, it's that kind of thing. I had a lot of knowledge that I needed to impart on people, and actually, I said, out there in places. And the Christian Science have some of it, but not absolutely usable for everybody the way it is. So Mary Baker Eddy did some great stuff, but she should have opened the way for medicine. She's kind of all or nothing. I mean, it's great stuff. I'm not saying that it doesn't have a place. I'm trying to find biblical info. There, actually, it's a audio instruction. See what happened. I googled the wrong thing. I don't know if I'm going to. Something's in the middle. I found it really easy last. Listening to it, I was sleeping well. I could feel the healing begin, and then boom, I was taken by way too early. That's it. It's called Science and Health. Audio production of that. I think I'm here. Science and Health with Key to the Scripture is the written. So there's some audio. That's some good stuff. So you can use that. You can use the Unity. The problem is it's not. Well, Baptists can't deal with it, but it's actually very valid information. If you would take Baptist information and combine it with that, it would work even better. Or vice versa. So we see these. I stopped drinking coffee, so might seem a little tired. At least for a couple days, I'm not going to drink coffee. But we see these systems that work. But if you combine those systems, you get something even greater. So I think God used it to get that information on Earth and then said, hey, why don't you just combine a couple of those and see how it works even better? Well, what happened is the doctors were telling me that something was the sciatica, and it turns out that yes and no. It's actually some of the muscles are cramping. So if I uncramp it, I get it massaged, it starts letting everything else go. So, right? I actually had muscle cramping more than I had sciatica. It's kind of the sciatica was secondary to muscle cramp, which is, I think, what happened last time, something similar. But for some reason, it let go on its own a little quicker. I can't remember what that was and how it all worked. Maybe because I had gotten a lot more massages back then. Been a long time since I got a massage, a couple months this go round. Now, last time they tried to say it was my supplements, and I really wasn't on that many supplements. This time I wasn't on any. So again, it wasn't my supplement. I don't know how many times I was asked if I was on steroids the last time it happened. But my massage therapist absolutely. Glamarillo is really scoring with people. And I mean, she's probably pretty liberal. I don't think she's just. Well, you know what? I take that back because Amarillo is very conservative, very Republican, but it's probably like normal Republican to have that many. Yeah, you have abnormal, like Nazi Republicans. I mean, the liberals aren't that far off in a lot of places. You have Nazi Republicans. They think Nazism is Republican. But again, there is trouble in paradise. The Republican Party isn't operating normally. I go back to the days of Nixon, and that was real Republican. They hated him. They hated Nixon. They hate President Trump. I mean, President Trump, he's being manipulated. I try not to blame him, but I'm like, I feel like hitting him upside his head. You go, wake up. They're manipulating you. You don't have to be all that. And then, like Barr today, being removed was the right thing. Well, obviously he did the wrong thing, and that happens. You pull a gun out and you get shot. But it's not. Oh yes, let's remove people, dominate, remove people. I mean, get out of here. What kind of message you sent it? Dominate, remove people. No wonder people are fleeing the Republican Party. Like I was saying, my brother raised my nephew to be Republican. And he's like liberal. But I said, he's still young. By the time he's 30, he's like 16. By the time he's probably even 25, he could be considered. But when you nutbags dominate and remove, he's not going to be Republican. I don't think Nixon said dominate, remove. That's probably why they dominated him and removed him. But he wouldn't say dominate, remove. I don't care who wins. I'll help whatever government gets in there, but you need to protect the citizen, and I'm one of those. Don't let them tell you something hard about me while they're manipulating me to look that way. Every time I started working cases for them, they try to make it look like I was a criminal trying to do something. I'm glad to see the Marshal Service picked up on that thing I was speaking about years ago, that I knew that people were in these like horror house scenarios and being trafficked and all that. I can hear them, but I can't see where they are. Some are dead, you know, we know that, of course. Can't be rescued. They had a lock on my mind. It wasn't COVID-19. I'll tell you that right now. What they did is they did something to me to cause panic attack. And then once they do that, they just keep triggering panic attacks, and you can't get anywhere. I still have a few of them, but I'm quickly destroying them. I said God has a lot for me to do. I've got to troubleshoot a lot of problems we have and get my information out. We have to get that healing ministry on. You know, I know there's different gifts, but we need to get that healing ministry increased and on. Everyday healing. Everyday people healing people, whether part of your church or not. Give them the good news that they can heal people. Of course, they can't. God can, but they can channel God in that matter because God is like that. God is a healer. And so is the Son. So Jesus gave me this message, and it's, you know, it's kind of like TMI scary. I can't tell you all of it. But he sent me this message earlier that he doesn't judge me for anything I've done. And he like was able, and he's saying it's God. God was with him, and God did that to get the message through. It was the part where are those that judge you? Because there's people that judge me everywhere. People today will judge anybody for anything and never stop, even if you prove it wrong. So again, a lot of times the things that Jesus said doesn't fit our era, even though it does. Because these accusers would say, "Oh, too bad, loser. We're going to stone her." I mean, this is the way they are in the FBI, the CIA, the Marshal Service. Of course, the rogue ones. Like I said, we have the secret fish people. I'll speak about that for a little while, but it'll go by the wayside. So remember, I said this when they try to say I'm saying it's everybody, even though I say it's everybody. I have to say it a certain way to make it work, the way prophecy works. Now we can speak about the secret fish people. Why? Because they're active right now, and they're also here in Amarillo. Secret fish people are people that are Christians that kind of just observe the corruption, but they know they can't do anything. They just do their best to scumbag the corruption. They're secretly sabotaging corruption from government position. And to get a chance, those that are corrupt, they'll take them out if they think they can do it safely. Like, they won't point at the corruption. They'll point at something else. And say, you did that, you got to go. Because they know they're deep state anyway. That's the only way to get rid of a deep state person is to like point at something that's not. It's still not 100% because they'll try to save them. But you point at something that's not deep state. Bad character or whatever. You're God. Remember, we have long memories here in government employee land of secret fish society. So they of course, Satan will say this is happening to you because you're being judged by God. And I know I'm not, but it's hard to fight if unless Jesus puts that message out. Once Jesus put that message out, it's like, you're God now. I kind of feel bad, but I don't. I spoke to Adult Protective Services about my neighbor, and I told her, look, I don't think he needs to be locked up. know, I'm not calling you because of that. It's a danger to that level. I mean, he goes, it's laudable. The guy gets up early, he goes out, he gets breakfast, he goes to the VA. I mean, he does a lot of different things, does his laundry downtown better than I'm doing. I don't feel like driving downtown to do my laundry. I told him, he tells me I'm 85. I said, well, I feel like I'm 105. You're probably doing better than me. So I told him, he was like looking at me, what? Young man. But I'll tell you what, he used to be a musician. He played guitar. That's not professionally, but was on stage at times, and back when, and he's a country western guy. Still wears his boots. He got a country western name, but I can't say it. I'm not gonna say it on. But I gave him. I brought my guitar out, my electric guitar, and it's pretty heavy. It's a heavy mahogany one. And I said he liked it. Les Paul's not as heavy. Yeah. I said, well, I got my Les Pauls in Tyler, Texas, in storage. I brought my my Elvis mic out. He didn't quite recognize that one. I don't know what kind he used. I said, that's the microphone Elvis used. Because he was talking about Elvis. He went to Elvis's mansion, I guess, and visited, and younger. He was telling me about that. And he said, and then this whirlwind picked up. He says, I think it was Elvis. Spirit of Elvis. I was visiting Elvis's mansion. So I just said, I think somebody needs to help him decide where to live. I think that's it. I think you get him somewhere. I mean, I even told him, what about a senior community where people are 55 and older, maybe like a gated community, but, someplace where he's safe, I mean, he's telling me about his money, and I'm like, I mean, I don't think I'm going to be able to watch this guy. And, I had a plan, but I can't convince him to do anything. So I had to let that go. I waited for his family. He's telling me about how much money he has. And I'm like, if, I mean, it could be somebody that looks like me. I mean, people out there are flim flam everywhere. So I said, we got to get him somewhere where he's protected. I mean, would he go to assisted living? Yeah, my mother lived in something like that, and she would drive her car out every day for a while. He's on hospice. If I can get well enough, just because I owe her, I don't know her. We both kind of helped each other and hurt each other equally. The D state was stressing us out. But I think it's like $800 a month to live in her place with meals. I thought it was 1,500. My brother said it was 800. 800. You said it was 1,500. That just shows you how weird everything is. If you said it was 800, I may have actually left and gone up there sooner and never been there in Texas to get sick. So that was weird. So I might go up there and say hey to my mother if I can get well enough. He's on hospice, so who knows? People sometimes live on hospice for a few years, 10 years sometimes. He's got this, but doctors keep talking about her heart failure all the time. I mean, they were talking about that like 10 years ago. That's it, it's over. I don't know. He talks about allergies. I think she's got, it's mold and all that stuff. That's what I think. And she's living in Pennsylvania. I mean, it might actually be bad for me to go up. But I'd like to get well enough to travel. I'm going to put a I mean, I like Amarillo, and if it works out, I'd stay here. But if I'm feeling like I might have a better place to live, I'm planning on, no matter what, putting a trailer hitch on my van. That way I don't have to put stuff in my van if I have to move somewhere. Yeah, tonight it's all about me. So there's a lot that goes on around people, even like disabled people you try to help. They don't want that human contact sometimes. When you try to talk to them, all you can do is heal them, pray for them. I'm the worst. I'm the opposite. That's somebody cursed my tongue. Move that. But I'm the opposite. I like crave human. I always crave human contact. The deep state knows that, and they like ruin my life around it. Ruin my ability to get married and everything. I still get married if I found the right person. I mean, the right person, just someone I got along with, and we decide to spend the rest of our life together. God said that's what He would like, and that's what He would enjoy. God, that is. Wants that to happen. So yeah, so Jesus told me He doesn't judge me, and He says, I said, well, wait a minute. When I read that, you were saying it was different. When I read it, it says, where are those that judge you? Well, here, when you said it, to me, it didn't have that. It actually had different wording, felt like, and looks. He says because they don't matter. They say it doesn't matter. Even if they judge you, I don't, because you're innocent. I know it's not any worse than anyone else. And it's not everything they would say it is, because again, they set me up to make me look a certain. I said I'm not going to do that kind of work. And I actually deleted all my files. But I was telling you that they would bring women around me and then post photos of transsexuals that looked like the women they were bringing around me to get me to be attracted to those women, but keep them at arm's length. And then make a transsexual thing around on a dating app or something. So I'm like, well, I'll just delete all these photos. I don't need them here. I'm not going to pursue that case. Got rid of that case too. Because if you were to run those particular photos through photo recognition type of facial recognition software and let it go a little bit, open up the parameters a bit, you would find all those people that were stalking me. Doing that, and then finally I got so much more I have to do. But it's interesting to find people that agree with me about the church being too far out. Kind of offending people. Supposed to offend people. Even though you think you're allowed to. That Baptists will say it all day long. Well, that brings them closer to God. Well, Paul said it doesn't. How did you get that it might bring them closer to God? See, if we focus too hard on making somebody sinless, we might lose them to accepting the gospel. Now, should they change? Well, they'll change when God changes. Nothing else is going to change them, no matter what you think or what the Bible says. Because within the Bible, if you go through it all, you'll find that you have no power to change yourself. And if you're demanding change, are you then tempting the Lord your God? Be back in a second, but I'm going to close this broadcast. Praise God in all that you do. Praise God.
You are listening to the Law Enforcement Pirate Radio Network. Radio Free Larry presiding.
You can run, but you can't hide.
Radio Free Larry.